What's going on YouTube, and welcome to Anteiku Nation, my home, your home, for all things gaming and all things Cardfight Vanguard Zero. Today guys, we're going to start our set 4 deck profile segment, and to top it off, you guessed it, we're starting off with Dragonic Overlord The End. But before we begin guys, please hit that like button if you like this video, smash that subscribe button, and click the bell so that you can be notified each and every time that I upload a brand new video. With all that being said guys, let's dive right into it. Alright guys, so here we go. This is our Dragonic Overlord The End deck profile video. I followed myself whether or not I wanted to begin this segment of set 4 with Dragonic Overlord The End or MLB or what have you, and so I actually decided to begin with this deck. Now this deck I am starting to love, I'm starting to get the real feel for it. And before we even dive into this deck profile, okay, I want to give a huge shout out to True Champion Steven, because I tried my own iterations of this deck, okay? Day one, I was like, I want to play this. The game has always given me Kagero since the beginning. I started playing this game. It was like, here, we want you to have Kagero. And going into set 4 was no different. But I also tried Different Fight's version of this deck, okay? So I was like, you know, I'm going to try and see what happens. Because Different Fight's, you know, he's an amazing card fighter. You know, he does a lot of awesome videos on deck profiles and showcases a lot of his decks. And, you know, he makes a lot of the right choices. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try his. I'm going to try what he can do. And even with his version of the deck, it didn't seem to flow well for me. My biggest problem was in this deck, and this is what I'm going to point out. This is my biggest complaint with this deck, is you need pieces of this card, okay? Now you're saying to yourself, well, Anteiku, you know, you're running 9 draw, brother. Like, what's the issue? Well, the issue is that, yeah, we're running 9 draw, but he just was not wanting to come to my hand. Like, it just wasn't happening. Now you wonder, you know, why do you need pieces of this card? What makes this card so awesome? Okay, so if you're not familiar with Vanguard, Dragonic Overlord The End is now the pinnacle of Kagero. This is going to be an evolutionary deck that will evolve, and it will keep changing with the meta, and it will keep up with the meta, because Bushiroad loves them some Dragonic Overlord just as much as they love Blaster Blade. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and look at the skill real quick, guys. Cross Ride Dragonic Overlord, meaning when it's cross ridden, he's going to be 13k base for the remainder of the game. Also, Vanguard, when this unit attack hits, you may CB2, which counterblast 2, Persona Blast, which means we ditch a copy of him to stand it and draw 2 cards. Now, this card is really good, because you're saying, well, I play Nova, so I could play Blau. Blau restands, and I support that. You should play Blau, because Blau is really good. But we're not talking about Blau right now. We are talking about Dragonic Overlord The End. Now, this is a card that's going to get off. Let's just say, okay, you swing at their rear guard with this thing, okay? He's getting 2 drive checks. Alright, that's awesome, okay? You CB2, you ditch a copy, all of a sudden he stands back up, so let's say you hit any triggers off of that, they're already still stacked on him, so now he's swinging at the Vanguard with all that power, and he gets 2 more drive checks, and guess what? You also +2 off of that first attack. So not only did you get hand advantage a little bit, or you replenished, you know, your resources, because someone said, well, you only +1 because you had a ditch a copy. I mean, yeah, that's true, but you're digging through your deck. You're digging for answers, and you're digging for PGs. You're digging for all kinds of other things that could, you know, help turn the tide of the battle in your favor. Now, let's look at this. The thing is, and again, it was hard getting copies of this card. I can't tell you what about this build made it easier for me to get copies. Okay, we're going to choke that up to just stupid, dumb luck, because I have no other, you know, explanation for you on that. But here's what I will say though. The consistency here and how this deck actually flows, the flow of this deck is wonderful. It's fun. It's really, really fun. I followed myself on one card, okay, and it was Dual Axe Archdragon. I've seen Different Fight use it. I have seen Steven use it, but I've also seen people who use Executioner. Now you're like, well, what's Dragonic Executioner? Let's look back for a second, okay? Because this is now my official The End deck. So let's scroll down here to my prototype deck, okay? And I labeled it that because this was something I was like, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to see how certain cards interact with each other, see how consistent this can be, because I wasn't seeing the end. Like, if you don't see the end to be able to ditch copies, it hurts, because then you're sitting vanilla. You're just sitting straight up vanilla, and it feels bad. that feels bad. And I'm one of those who I like to play devil's advocate. I'm going to show you the best of both worlds. I'm going to show you the bad, I'm going to show you the good, and I'm going to let you decide what you want to do with it. Now, I did try for consistency's sake to use the grade 3 searcher. Now, you asked why did I do that? Back in the days in Break Ride, when we had Dauntless Drive Dragon, which we will be getting eventually somewhere down the road once we hit season 3 of Vanguard, and we get break rides. But anyway, this little dude is pretty cool. You CB1, put him into the soul, boom, you search the top 5, hopefully you get a grade 3, you add to your hand. The premise is that hopefully you get that, you get the end, okay? You at least you net 1 copy, hopefully, okay? And the other premise is that I was using this Griffin because he's a guaranteed, CB1 retired 2 rear guards to get a Dragonic Overlord The End, so it's a guarantee I get it. You're like, Anteiku, what are you doing, bro? You're like, that's a lot of negative. Like, you have to use a counterblast, you have to get rid of 2 rear guards, and granted, he counts as one of those costs. You can get rid of him. So for 1 CB, him, and 1 other card, you get what's guaranteed to have a Dragonic Overlord The End. I get it. Cockrow does not necessarily keep board presence, okay? Most of the time it's your front row swinging. Occasionally you might build up some rear guard boosters with bar or heat nail, and then heat nail's only around for so long, or you might have your gojos, but most of the time it's your front rows doing all of the work, and I totally agree with that. I understand. So it's like, why would you mess up your own field? Consistency, because if I'm swinging with my big boy here, and he's 13k base, even if he's not, let's just say he's 11k, let's say I just forego riding him over, Dragonic Overlord, and I'm like, you know what, let's just go straight Dote, because I like straight Dote. Then I'm at least swinging for 11k at their rear guard, who more than likely I'm going to hit, okay? So I'm going to get his ability off. I'm going to be able to ditch a copy. I'm going to net 2 cards out of the deck. I'm going to drive check 4 times, because I can do it due to consistency, okay? But again, I tested this deck, and in my footage you will see me actually play this deck, although at the time I had changed the Forerunner out for Conroe, so you won't see me using that, but I did use the Griffin in that deck. And we did use the Bellicosities, okay? I'm a little on the fence about Bellicosity. I do like it. It's like a mini break ride, okay? Because like when you ride over it with your Overlord or your The End, you get plus 5k and a crit, and that feels pretty good. Now here's the only downside about that. The more you push them into their damage, the more potential they could heal out of it, and that feels bad, because then you wasted your turn 2 being able to do other things, and you push them, but then they just kind of come back from it. And more times than not, and I'm saying this in my own experience, guys, so do not try to like hang a noose around my neck for this, I see people come back from that. I see people come back from the Bellicosity move. And then I'm sitting here like, there's other things I could have done. And not to mention, if people see you playing this, they're going to try and play against you. They're going to try and build a wall of grade 2s against this thing, so that, 1, they're going to try and rush you, or 2, they're going to try, like I said, build a wall to protect themselves from this thing, from you being able to, get that extra crit off. Because what's going to feel bad is when you ride this and then they have a whole field. They have, they just rush you, and that feels bad, because then you're like, I got to commit more. And if you cannot commit more during your grade 2 ride, then you're just sitting in a bad spot. This card can set you back. While it can gain you some advantage in the field and in some of the games, it can kind of benefit. I feel like some of the negatives on it in this game and how Zero plays might be too great. We're still going to look at it. We're going to keep play testing, and we'll get back to that. Now, if you're going right now, let's look at Tejas, okay? So Tejas, he's not been nerfed. He's still a good old Tejas. Vanguard rear guard. He can attack the back row. And for right now, he's solid. With Wingle and with the mirror match, you want to run him. You want to run him, because you're going to see a lot of Dote. We're seeing a lot of MLB, okay? It's not going to go away. It's going to be a thing. And as long as he's able to do what he does, run him. Run him. He is solid. So let's back up for a second. Or hold up, one thing. I do want to touch on one thing real quick, guys. This is the card that I got torn about, okay? I did want to talk about this. Dragonic Executioner. Rearguard Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, it gets plus 2k, okay? When it attacks the Vanguard, okay? This can hit some magic numbers. You can hit 20k with it, okay? With a bar behind it, it hits 20k. That hits wonderful against MLB, who is like, 12,000. So like if you just swing with this first, then yeah, it's definitely going to hit MLB. Now, problem is against cross-ridden Dragonic Overlord The End or Phantom Blast or Dragon Overlord, then all of a sudden you're not quite hitting the mark. And that is why people have opted, and why I understand now why Steven chose to run the Dual Axe Arc Dragon. Because during your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, this unit gets plus 3,000, so he becomes 13. So he hits those cross-ridden thresholds. Only bad part that I see, the only drawback that I see, is how often are they going to only have 2 rear guards? Because Royal Paladin keep a pretty good field, even with MLB kind of minusing because you have to suck in 2 units in order to get his ability off. They still find a way to recover. And the bad part too is that I feel like in this deck is that we're not really retiring. If you look at what we got, guys, we're not really retiring. We've got the 2 heat nails, but outside of that, nothing in this deck is built around retiring. Now you say, well, we've got regular Overlord, he can kill the entire front row. Well, yeah, but that's not really what you're wanting to do. That is not your goal in this deck, is to use his ability. If it goes off, that's awesome. You know, depending on your situation, you may need to do that. But when heat nail is your only source of retirement, it kind of feels a little bad. So my question in theory is, how often is he going to be 13k in order to benefit from that? I questioned that from the get-go, even though I played him a lot in the last 2 seasons. When I did play Kagero, I still played him. At one point I got rid of him and I was using Goku, but still, we're going to see. I'm going to keep play testing, but I can at least say for right now, the flow of this deck, how this deck performs, is wonderful. There's nothing really too special about it, guys. Okay, we still got the 4 PGs. We've got the Conroe. Everybody knows what Conroe does. Kind of plus 1, put into or retire this unit, and then you get to search your PG or another grade 1, which you can search your air mode, which is going to allow you that when when the attack this unit boosted hits, you may discard a card from your hand to draw a card. So that way you can kind of filter through your deck a little bit. You know, let's say you got a Gojo. What I like to do is if I got 2 Gojos in hand, I'll throw 1 down, then I'll ditch the Gojo just so I can fetch something else and hope and pray that the Vanguard shine upon me and I get the Dragonic Overlord The End. So, looking at the deck all in all, guys, we do tech in, like, you know, 1 Dragonic Waterfall, okay? This guy's pretty good at things just go, you know, screwy. And if he's the one that you actually have to ride, then that's not bad, because he does hit magical numbers, okay? Because he goes up to 14k by himself. You put a bar behind him, he's 22k, so therefore he's hitting thresholds. He's hitting those magic thresholds, and that feels pretty good, okay? When you can't get what you actually need, okay? Because he feels better than having to ride Dual Axe Arch Dragon, and he honestly even feels better than having to ride him if, you know, you don't get the cross ride, if you can't get Dote. We do run 4 Hallam. Now you could argue, well, you could run Striking because he's still 10k and he can still attack in the rear guard. That's true, but if you have to ride him, that's the thing. I in my playtesting, I'm still not certain if Striking is worth the investment and setting yourself back an attack during your turn 2. I'm just not convinced yet. We do run 3 Bellicosity. You could go up 4 on this because Bellicosity is just really good, okay? Because he makes Dote's ability, you know, basically cut in half. He can make Dragonic Overlord's ability only a 2 CB instead of 3. He can recover the Conroe Counterblast. He can recover, you know, he just helps you to recover things. You know, that's what he does. That's what it's built there for, because this deck is CB heavy with Dragonic Overlord The End, because you do need 2 Counterblast. But for the most part, those are the only 2 that you're using a Counterblast on. Those and Conroe. It's not too bad. You should be sitting pretty with your, you know, Counterblast resources. We are running 3 Burning Horn. At first I was like, you know, go 4, go ham. But I can see why he chose only go 3 in this deck, because the consistency is still there, but you also want to see your Tejas and you want to see your Bellicosities, and these guys are just, these are MVPs when it comes to your grade 2 lineup. You really want these cards. You want to see them, you want them to be able to put in work, and you know, that's just that. Grade 1 lineup, you know, we got Bar, he's just kind of standard there, you know, there's nothing to be said for. And then we got Gojo, just a little bit of deck filtering. You know, even if, like, let's say you've got Gojo and you've got your Dual Axe, ditch the Dual Axe, go hard, search for your Dotes, because that's your winning image, guys. That is the winning image. That is what you want to see. You want to see your Dotes, and only way to do that is to dig deep. Now we are running 9 draw because I don't know how this deck really feels with crits. I am tempted to maybe go like 5 draw 4 crit, because of to be able to, like, restand Dragonic Overlord The End with a crit just seems enticing. It is super enticing. Now, if we got to keep our drive checks, I'd be more inclined to possibly do that. But I'm a little worried that if we forego the draw for some crits, it's going to mess up the consistency of this deck. I do see the little meme going around that people are like, well, I'm going to put the heal trigger because on my main grade 3 because I see my heal triggers a lot. And you know what? I can't exactly argue with that that statement, because there are a lot of times you do see your heals more than you do other grade 3s, and that feels bad, especially when like you draw them all at one time in your opening hand, because we all know it happens. Or, you know, you drive check into your heal. But anyway, there's not much to say about this deck, guys. This is the one that I feel the most confident in right now. There's going to be a lot of play testing still to come. There's going to be a lot of modifications, I think, along the way, potentially, depending on how the format sits. We know the MLB is sitting at top right now. We know shadows are there. We know that the mirror match is there. No one's really worrying about other decks, like, you know, we're not worried about Scarlet Witch Coco. We're not really worried so much about Beast Deity, even though there's some room for Beast Deity in this format. And we're going to be touching on that in another video. But I like this deck. I like the way that it flows. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to touch the ratio on it. I really like it. I think it's solid. So, yeah, huge shout out to Steven for this. Thank you so much, brother. I'm going to give all credit to him because, again, I tried. I just could not find the right feel for me for this deck. So, yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please go check out his channel. Please give him all the love and support that you can. Awesome guy, awesome player. Love his content. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I do have in-game footage coming up, so please stay tuned for that. And also, guys, please, as always, leave me your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below. Let me know what you think. You know, let me know the success are you having with this deck. You know, let me know what kind of cards are you running in this deck. You know, what ratio of triggers are you using? And just let me know, guys. I want to know your thoughts and opinions. And as always, guys, please make sure to hit that like button. I know we're getting a lot of views on certain videos, guys, so please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button for me, guys. I really want to grow this channel, really want to grow the family, and it means a lot for the love and support that I have received so far, guys. But please, just make sure, hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, guys, until next time, stay strong, stay healthy, and stand up, my Vanguard!
your side, with my heart on hyperdrive. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart on hyperdrive, we do what we want, but we're not free. With our hearts on hyperdrive. Hyperdrive.